Peace and Black Power family. This is your host Raheem Shabazz, and we are back for another episode of Necessary Blackness Podcast. And today, family, we have a special guest in the building, and our topic is from protest to profit: why Black shareholding is the next revolution. Let me say that again. Today's topic is from protest to profit and why Black shareholding is the next revolution. And we got our brother Charles in the building. What's going on, brother Charles?
Peace, man. Peace. Thank you, man. I like that. I like that title. Sometimes I like to say from boycotts to boardrooms.
From boycotts to boy room.
From
Absolutely.
boycott, and it's just evolution. You know what I mean? Like that's not a slight on our history. That's not putting anything down. That's not, shout out to Jamal Bryant and the movement that he put together. Churches have always tried or attempted and have been at the forefront of a lot of the movements. But I think respectfully, like they missed the ball with this one.
All right, I want to give a little backstory to everybody. How I met the brother. The brother follows me on social media, and as many of y'all know, the National Baptist Convention, which has the moral leadership of over 31,000 churches, decided to accept $300,000 um, from Target during and in the midst of a national boycott against the Target Corporation. A lot of people, including myself, felt like this was a slap in the face of Black America. And
I didn't.
I addressed that, and the brother wrote a nice critique um, stating why the boycott happened and why the approach that many are engaging in is not effective. And he gave an alternative. So today we are here to talk about that alternative, and I think it's a very good alternative because, in fact, I was under the assumption that the DEI cancellation happened, and then the lawsuit from the shareholders took place because of the stocks plummeting, right? Um, you had since informed me that the shareholders filed the lawsuit, and the reason why they filed the lawsuit is because they want to stop the DEI program. Is that correct? Can you
There are
explain that?
nuances there, right? So yeah. There are nuances. And I did thank you for that feed. And there are nuances here. And
Mm-hmm.
so the shareholders would have filed a resolution. They would have talked to Target years before any lawsuit. At the same time, years before any share price decline. They did this behind because they have the right to. So a conservative group of shareholders, whether it's DEI, whether it's pride, something that doesn't align with their values, they brought this concern up to the CEO and to the board. The
Mm-hmm.
board takes that into consideration. By 2021, the DEI sponsored partnerships are full blown, very profitable. Like Target is seeing profit. This is also during the COVID, I guess the COVID boom at this time. So like people have money, right? And again, like so, like there are nuances there. So this lawsuit comes, the first one comes in 2023, and it's alleging that Target misled investors about pride campaigns and social initiatives. By 2023, a stock had already been down. You already have signs of inflation. You already have signs of ups and downs, right? During COVID, we had the whole supply chain thing. There's something important there. Again, when I speak about nuances, Target ate a lot of those costs. to the benefit of the consumer. Like the share price was going to go down. So when it goes down, you have these conservative groups say it's because of your social agendas. Well,
Mhm.
those are the reasons why the share price was up in the first place. Like, these people flock to Target. Normally, these people don't go to Target,
Yeah.
right? Us. Why? Because Target is Target. Like Target is more expensive than Costco and Walmart. Everybody knows that. It's considered the bougie sister to Walmart. Like the memes are, if you go to Walmart is ghetto, Target is not. Um, so you have these nuances, and these all play a part. Um, by 2025, you got the Florida Attorney General joining in on a lawsuit. Mind you, these lawsuits were paused too. So like there, there are SEC protections. So you have the SEC step in and say, like, wait a second, like, shareholders can't sue. uh and then, like, after reviewing everything, right, like, so, like, years go on,
Mhm.
these boycotts go live by February. The judge allowed for these lawsuits to go through, so Target is still, in some cases, have settled, and is still facing litigation from these. So, like, the shareholders still have pressure on Target. If anything, the shareholders tank their own company. Target was doing fine before they brought these lawsuits, before they start complaining. But this is the environment we're in, right? Like, where these companies and organizations are getting targeted, not because of profits, or if this was actually a good idea, but just because it doesn't align with the values of the group of investors.
All right, let me ask you something, right? Jamal Bryant, as we know, he has a website and he's one of many that's leading the initiative, right? A lot of people's calling him the leader. Um, as far as I'm concerned, in Black America, we don't have leaders. We have those who step to the forefront and get the work done, and many join them. But there is a conglomerate of organizations and individuals that are actually partic- participating in this boycott, right? And I think it was 2021. The stocks was at $288.36, and I think as of now, or the last time I
Around
checked,
$95.
yes, it's at 95. So that is uh
It's been stable at $95 since around their boycott, since it's
yeah.
dropped.
So it's safe to say that the boycott did not plummet the stock as Jamal Bryant and others are saying.
No,
And
no.
also
Look at
another thing that's being said is that the foot traffic is down to a single digit percentage. So once again, there's the narrative and then there's the truth. And
Yeah.
I've been watching this, and the reason why is, and I'm not trying to shame anybody for joining the boycott, is because we do gotta have some type of economic justice, and we got to be able to hold people accountable, especially these corporations, right? Um, that leads me to my next question, right? You mentioned that shareholders shape corporate policies, and this is where power is, and we need to become shareholders, right? Had we been shareholders in Target or any of these other corporate entities, how would that greatly impact for the good of Black America?
Um, I want to get to that question, but I want to touch on something you said. 'Cause you mentioned the 2021. Again, that was during the COVID boom, so, like, a lot
Mhm.
of retail was on fire around that time, to where we are now, and,
Mhm.
like, we are at a horrible place right now. Like, you
Absolutely.
have to look at the American economy. Like, this is Target is not a grocery store. Target is like a home goods. Target is mainly like home goods and like apparel and stuff like that. They
Mhm.
have groceries, but so most of Target's stuff is imported. So
So the
if they haven't
tariffs,
figured,
The
not just
tariffs.
tariffs, but there's still supply chain issues. There's still margin issues. There's still inventory problems that they were dealing with, like that retailers are still dealing with from COVID.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you have tariffs. I think you could look at like most of what Target has is imported from China
Mhm.
in some way, shape, or form, or wherever it's from at this point. It doesn't matter because the tariffs are across the board. So did the protest do anything? I think significantly to the stock? No. Did it gather attention? Yes. Did they make a movement? Yes. What would have strengthened them was, instead of making T-shirts, like he told them to buy shares, or he in the organizations, but you don't even need millions of dollars, and I want to get into that a little later, but I just wanted to touch on that. Like the boycott was, it was short-term noise. Like you got the decline in foot traffic. Target immediately pivoted with online. They ramped up all of their online presence. They offered significant discounts. Like there are counters that were put in place that we'll see. And in the end, once these tariffs and everything get settled, I mean, now would be a good time for Jamal Bryant to start telling people to buy. Because if it goes back to 280 or 266 or whatever, like that's a great feedback loop that can then be reinvested into our community. And I guess that goes into the second question you asked, which was about
Mhm.
the benefit of shareholder ownership. Um, Black people represent 1.7 trillion a year in spending, but we don't own the companies we buy from. And like that's the issue, because we keep getting offended by these people. We keep supporting these people and then getting our feelings hurt. They don't, as stakeholders, yes, they have a choice to listen, and they did. He gave $300,000 to the black church. Jamal Bryant said to give 200 million. Now that's not 200 million, but it's something. And it's probably against what the shareholders even wanted. So Target is still trying to work within their confines to work
Yeah,
with
but
y'all because
let me pause you right there. Right, you did say it's a big difference, right? So 300,000 as opposed to 250 million is, people will say that's bread comes from the master's table, right?
what
He,
what
he,
what
he needed to
qualifies
put
250 million? Where
what
did he get that
qualifies
number
it.
from? Yeah, like where did he
He,
get that number from?
I don't want to misquote
He
it,
don't
but
he did I
I
don't think
forget.
he has the source.
No, he did say how much is spent every day from black people in Target, and then he added it up over time. What would that number look like? So I think that's how he got the number. But I
I
will
don't
say
I
this
don't
though,
know.
right?
I don't
You
know if those
mentioned,
are real numbers.
yeah, you mentioned that Target is ramping up its response, and from what I'm understanding is that they're targeting and starting to do stuff with HBCUs. So I think they're trying to get around it.
They
Um,
already had a lot of these things too. Like he had mentioned one of the stipulations was like $2 billion into like programs. But like if you go back to 2021, Target already had a $2 billion program that's like still seeded throughout now. Like that they still had these things. Again, like a lot of this was reactionary without, I think, fully even understanding um the corporation.
So
Like
none of the $2 billion initiative that was going to the black community around the situation with George Floyd, none of that was paused. That's what you're telling me.
what we we boycotted the people who were on the shelves. We boycotted the people who were a part of those initiatives. Like we paused them. We stopped Tabitha. We stopped. You can't. You know what I mean? Like we didn't go to Tabitha Brown and to these other people that made it from these places onto Target shelves. Like those were those programs.
That was one of the flip sides of the argument. And to his credit, what I will say is that he had, I think it was over 300,000 listings of black businesses that you can actually buy from on the website that he has, and I think that was a good thing. It was a win because now we're able to buy from our own and circulate money in the community. But I want to get back to my question, right? Um, if black people, as you state, would have bought corporate
Mm,
stocks,
I have to
um,
off. Right?
how does that process work, and what we could have did to make it effective for us to work for us?
So when you're a shareholder, you can vote on who's on the board.
Mm-hmm.
You can submit proposals on policy, and you can push back on decisions that don't serve our interest, right? And that comes with filing what's known as shareholder resolutions. So in some cases, like Target is 90. So a lot of people say like, oh, we don't have money, right? But we do. We represent 1.7 trillion in spending. So that means that our priorities are a little off. But if we were to direct this towards buying shares of Target stock, it could have worked with it could have very small. It could have worked with $2,000,
Well, how
two
much?
thousand $2,000,
One
2,000
person, one person, or a group of people?
one person. But if we do a group of people, obviously like we can do more. But if one person holds $2,000, I believe for 2 years or 3 years, you have the right to make a proposal at the next shareholder meeting, or you can file a proposal.
So if we
Um,
was to have, if we was to have 100 people invest $2,000, which in 2-3 years they can put together a proposal, nominate someone to be on the board that aligns with their views, get a couple of them on there, and then start directing and making policies from in the inside. That's what you're telling me?
yeah, so it scales with money. So like at 25,000, it only takes a year with you holding the stock
Oh,
before you can
okay.
file those resolutions. So let's say we all get together. If we could put $100,000, 100,000 onto the stock, if we could put 200,000 onto the stock, this is a different conversation we could have. We're not outside protesting. They have to answer to us as shareholders in the boardroom.
So why? Because to me, I'm a novice with this, right? But I'm sure, our elders and people that deal with finance and deal with corporate policies, I'm sure they have to know about this, right? This is not nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. Why you think they haven't utilized this tactic, in your humble opinion? Be honest.
I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure if it's too political, or if it's you know it's I guess you see how I have to come, like, and a lot of people take the way I'm coming as like I'm not coming at anybody, but we believe that what we're doing works and it doesn't work. It's not working, and we're championing these people, and it's not working, and we're championing these people, and then we're giving them power. We're giving them like, and it's not working, and I'm confused. I think it's unconventional. Is I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't know. Unconventional, man. I guess just the idea of it being unconventional. The it can be aggressive. I mean, we are like in this situation. Target CEO isn't necessarily like the enemy. So we would buy into Target and we would go to the shareholder meeting. This guy is basically in between a rock and a hard place. Like, he's already stated that he was going to leave, and that's possibly because of internal pressure from shareholders.
Mhm.
Way before there ever was a boycott, he was like, "I'm out of here." They don't even have a CEO lined up for him. So like that's an issue for Target. Um, but like we would go to this meeting and we would be against other shareholders at this point who say, well, DEI and whatever XYZ, and we would be saying the opposite to that. and this can get I guess aggressive. These people have no issue doing it. I mean, this isn't something that like I made up. This isn't like it's not even reinventing the wheel. I mean, it's shareholder activism. It's called activist investing. Um, and it's really what the stocks are for. I mean, when,
Yeah.
when you buy a stock, you're an owner. I mean, again, before we started, I was telling you about like like the different just like influencers who have people day trading stocks. And to me, every stock you sell is a vote you no longer have in this company. I don't sell nothing.
Yeah. You know what? I want to go on record and say this, right? You know, there are many people that is of the belief that if, you know, these people that say they come in and they want to solve the problem, that if they actually solve the problem, then they have no source of income. They have nothing else that they can bring. You know why? If there's always a problem, they're gonna always be in business. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe that might be the case.
I mean,
Because
I've tried to reach out. Like I don't want to be. I'm not trying to like take over nobody movement or like be the face. I really just want to see my people utilize what I just saw. This Listen, a group of Christians got mad at Target because Target ended its DEI. And then that turned into just like consumers mad at Target and people who agreed with this group of Christians. Quietly, a group of Christians got mad at Target, threatened to sue and do all type of things behind closed doors to Target. Why couldn't these two Christians just talk? Why can't Pastor Bryant and the Christian led investment firm Inspire Investing, why can't they talk about what's best for people?
you know why? Because they have different ideology and belief. The conservative Christians, they don't want to see the pride stuff on the shelf, and they believe that America is a free enterprise and that there shouldn't be favorable decisions made to black entrepreneurs to put them on the shelf. And it's a conversation that should it be had? Yeah, but they don't want to
From
have.
pastor to pastor, from Christian to Christian. I think that before it ever got to a book. But again, I don't even think these people know who Inspire Investing is, and this is where I come in. So I'm trying
So
to
tell us who is Inspire Invested. Tell us who.
inspire. Inspire Investing is a anti DEI Christian faith based, and I don't say that just to like poke at it. I say that because that's on their website. That's what they are. If you look up Inspire Investing, it's a faith based, biblically responsible investing. Inspire Investing, inspiring transformation for God's glory, empowering Christian investors through biblically responsible investing.
And they're predominantly a white group, right? Correct.
Yes. And they target DEI companies with an anti DEI like policy.
Mm.
They found ways to sue based on ESG and DEI, and they found ways to put companies and CEOs in the corner. And I'll say this, instead of supporting Target CEO Brian, which we should have done because of what he has done for Black people and for Pride people and all that stuff, like he's been put in a very like he's probably stressed out of his mind. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's gonna get a good package, and he's a multi-millionaire and everything, but like this was a very uncomfortable situation to be put in when hundreds of thousands of people believe you hate them all of a sudden or you dislike them, and it's not you, it's the people who own the company
Yeah,
telling you what to do. He works for them. The CEO works for shareholders. The board works for shareholders. That's
absolutely.
why this is important. This is like imperative that we understand this. Like no amount of boycotts will reach because the investors don't give a fuck. Excuse my language.
No, you're good with the language. So basically, you have a group called Inspire Investments, which is a Christian faith-based group that are buying shares.
Robert Robert Neatsley. I'm sorry, wrong your name.
Yeah, so they're buying shares in these corporate companies, and they're able to dictate what the corporate agenda is going to be, right? So
Exactly.
basically, they're doing what you telling us to do, to buy shares so that we could dictate what corporate policy is going to look like, because that's where the power is at. I think that's a win, and I
You
think
got.
that we need to
I'm.
do that in addition to taking that money that we do get or that we do have uh, at our disposal, and start having our own Target, our own Costco, our
I mean,
own
that's what
store.
you do, right? Like you
That's
reinvest. Like we
what
make
we
we make money off the market, and you go to Atlanta, make money off the market, and you buy in that black neighborhood. Make money off the market, and you go vacation in Martha's Vineyard. Make money off the market, and you go to the black Bel Air. Make money off the market. It's just like they make money off the market, and they go to where they go. Like we're not doing nothing that nobody else is doing. We just
do.
refuse to do it for some weird reason.
And I think that's where the problem lies, right? Because listen, this is a boycott, and a boycott has an expiration date, right? So that's why I'm really not too fond of boycotts. We need what they call an economic embargo, right? That goes on and on and on. There's no expiration date on the embargo unless we say so. You know, so that's the main crux of everything. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I appreciate you for coming on.
I
Now, earlier
appreciate you.
on, you know, I want you to give out your handle. Is Small Hat Warrior.
Yeah,
What is it?
small cat, small
Small
cat,
Cat.
like
That's
no
Small
cat,
Hat. Small
small
Cat
cat
Warrior. And I
warrior.
asked you about that, and you explained that. I want you to explain that, like how you was explaining to me, and also, you know, I don't want to ask you for no financial advice, right? But you did start talking about day trading. I want you to get into you know, in your opinion, not financial advice. Do you think day trading is a better alternative for us, or optional trading with the stocks?
Mhm.
Okay.
Um, so my handle is small cap warrior. You got small cap stocks, mid cap stock, large cap stocks. Large cap stocks are your blue chips,
Mm-hmm.
your Apples, your Googles. Small caps are more like, I think like 5 billion market cap or less. Sometimes they trade on the stock exchange. You might be able to find them on like the OTC, but they're smaller companies. Usually, they people who try to look for like value, so like value investors would
Mm-hmm.
try to find these small cap companies. It's like Warren Buffett esque almost, like taking that fundamental approach to like reading the company's financials, not trading, not looking to be a day trader, not looking to try to like flip, $100 to $10,000, like really being real. I think because if you're realistic with money, you're good with money. And a lot of this is being realistic, understanding, what you know. If you shop at Target, Target, you know the trends, you know the prices. You can feel something in the air when you in there, something not right, and then you see what the news come out about Target, and it's like we need to position ourselves better, like a new mental framework. John
Mm-hmm.
Hope Bryant he talks a lot about
Oh yeah, I
civil
love
rights.
I
Yeah,
love
he talk about civil rights, right? And like civil rights is the evolution of civil rights. So like civil rights was political, civil rights was civil, and then we evolved. Dr. King's last message was on economic justice.
Mm-hmm.
And here today, we're still trying to fight for economic justice. So that's like a 70-year gap. But like here we are, markets have decentralized. Like 20 years ago, it was hard to buy a stock. 10 years ago, it was hard to buy a stock. Now you got Robinhood. Now anybody could buy a stock. Now they got fractional shares.
You can
Everybody
buy
could get
stocks on
ownership.
Nasdaq.
You could buy stocks on Cash App. And
Right.
and there's no excuse when you buy these stocks, you get emails. So like if you buy a stock, I use Interactive Brokers, a little bit more sophisticated. When I buy, I get an email. and it says, hey, like Target is scheduled for a vote in the next couple months. Here's the information you need to know about what's going on in that company, and here's your form to vote. And it's like if you use Robinhood, then that information may not go to your email, it may go to your Robinhood inbox. And like these are the things we need to know. Don't sell that share. You know what I mean? Like don't try to, you know, see yourself as a owner. Like you know, I'm also a owner of AMC. And what's been going on with AMC is ridiculous. Like, you know, I could take up a whole nother podcast talking about that, but I'm gonna save that. But like, you know, there are things we can do as not just as consumers, but as shareholders. There are powers that we have, not as consumers, but as owners. And like, we just need to like understand that and not ignore that. I get yelled at all the time by like people in the comments, like, oh, we're not millionaires. We don't have any money. Like I've tried not to like bash on this dude, but you got John Hope Bryant saying to, I'm sorry, you got Jamal Bryant saying to buy black, but he's dressed in European.
Mm,
He's taking trips to France and Paris and I don't let these people talk over your head.
mm. Yo, brother, I definitely appreciate you, man. Me and you we gonna chat in the back channel right now that I got direct access to you. I want to chop it up, man. About I know about day trading. I
If you
seen
could
some.
do it, I mean, you know, if you could do it, I think you really have to have money, and that's the issue. Like if you got bread and you wanna risk the biscuit, go ahead. But if you trying to like make it and you got your 9 to 5 and you desperate and you buying these courses because you just trying to flip and you hoping that somebody get you up out of this a couple, all you need is 5 or 10 and you good.
Oh
Don't
no,
do
that ain't
that.
gonna happen.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen. What I was gonna tell you is that I had some success in day trading. This was during COVID. Me, like everybody else, when everybody was talking about it, and I was fortunate enough to be privy to several different courses that I studied, and people was calling me, giving me insight, and giving me plays like, "Yo, put it to this," and I seen them numbers go up. So I did have a little bit of success with that, but I found out that option trading is where the money's at. You know what I mean? And it's not a big risk. You don't need. It's not a lot of money that you need to the
I
entry.
would I would personally, that's the biggest risk.
What option?
Options derivatives
What what
is
what what
and,
what
and
what?
what's crazy is like the oversimplification that's been given to options and like the way people run with options are some of the most like sophisticated derivatives that you could trade with, like the
But for instance, right? When I well, I'm holding my options, right now, the ones that I have, right. I'm dealing with like computer chips, right. I'm also dealing with the AI, and then
you in the trend.
I'm doing EFTs, right? So
Yeah.
not like I'm just buying or investing in one. I'm investing, fractional across the line of AI stocks. So and this is not just to play around with. I'm holding it, hoping to yield some money from it.
No,
Doing
that's
it
not
like
don't sound like
that,
a bad idea.
huh?
That don't sound like a bad idea. You know, that sound like it's in line with what's going on. I will say this, man. If you go in the direction of the trend, like, you know, you're not gonna be wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think AI is anything. There's anything wrong with AI. It's not anywhere I look. I'm not as tech savvy. Like if I can't understand it, I'm not gonna go into it.
Do
But
you deal with EFTs?
so yes and no. EFTs are a basket of individual stocks. So the reason why I don't necessarily go too into them is because you don't have the same voter power that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You need to be able to own that share individually to your name because it means that you own a piece of that company. And when you buy an EFT, you own it. You know, the EFT owns those shares, and you just put your money collectively like into that basket. Um, EFTs aren't bad though. Like nothing, and EFTs aren't bad at all. They're just not my preferred way of
I think
investing.
you know a person should do both, do
I
ENTs as well as
I think
stocks
I think people
outright.
should buy bonds. I think people should buy bonds. I mean, I'm invested in an AMC bond. You know, not financial advice, but I'm invested in an AMC bond that pays me around 6%.
That's good. That's hella good. That's hella good. But
And
all
that's
right,
not
brother.
that's not you know, for people listening, that's not like any type of like crazy money. I mean, you could, you know, if you got the public app and you could buy AMC bonds off of there, and they got fractional bonds that you could buy. So, and you'll be able to get that 6%. That's way better than with anything out there. A lot of things out there right now. You just
Yeah,
got to worry if AMC will be around by next year. They
yeah, I'm
should be.
definitely gonna look into that. That's one of the things. Once I have a talk with someone, I'm gonna go do a deep dive and go down the rabbit hole and look at their whole financials, and see if it's a good investment. You know, a lot of people they hear you say that and automatically invest, and nah, you got to do your due diligence, and
Hmm.
it's just like, yo, I feel better when I put my money and I know about a stock, at least know about the
Conviction.
company and the direction that they're going in. But listen, this stream is about to end, and I don't
Okay,
want to
man.
end without you letting people know how they can find you on social media. And I want to say in closing that if there's anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you that you want to say in your last closing words, this is your chance to do it.
Uh, Social media, you can find me on Instagram at small cat warrior __. You can find me on LinkedIn, Charles Jackson. Um, yeah, that's about it. I tried. I just be trying to have social media to reach whoever I could reach that's on there. So like if I could reach people like you, that's why I'm on there. You know what I mean? Like to
Absolutely.
stuff
Absolutely.
like that. So, but if anybody interested, I mean, I don't have a course. It's nothing I could teach. But you could always, inbox me or question me, or if you disagree with anything, or you just want to build, still sharp and still, just don't insult me.
Jamal Bryan, when he see this, he gonna be on your bumper.
You know what? I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, and I'm not in Atlanta right now, but I'm located in Atlanta, and
Okay.
I've been considering maybe to even pop up on him, maybe even to go, maybe I'll pop up on him one Sunday, and go to sit down, because like there's a timeline that exists where we lose,
Hmm.
and where we lose, what we are going into. I don't know if you heard, like, there's a crazy headline: by 2053, black net worth will go to zero.
Yeah.
A lot of that is if we don't understand the civil rights movement, this economic justice, if we don't understand that shares hold power, and that we're not boycotting against small local companies. These are real organizations, international, multinational, with shareholders and boards, and shareholders who tell those boards what to do. And
Hmm.
like we got to start getting real specific and about who we talking to, and how we moving.
That's right. That's right. So in closing, I want to let everybody know, man, I appreciate you, brother, for coming on here, man. And this is your first time. It shouldn't be your last. And for
Thank you.
everybody, make sure you go to elementarygenocide.com, or you can go to necessaryblackness.com, or you can go to Amazon and get this book, Radical Hope in the 21st Century. We deal with the economic disadvantage that we face, and we do offer solutions to get us up out of that. And one of them is how the brother said, the civil rights. You know, we have civil rights and then we have civil rights. So we got to get to them civil rights. We got to get to the civil rights as well. So peace and love,
Absolutely.
our family, and I'll see
Peace.
y'all on the other side. Peace.
Peace.